The rules of retail are changing. One by one, corporate retailers are closing their doors, and some call it the death of retail. But those rules never apply to independent retailers like us. We're writing our own rules. We're here to answer the questions about how to grow your business, stay competitive, and still have a life. I'm Josh Orr, and this is the Retail Initiative Podcast. Hello. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Retail Initiative. I obviously had a super hectic holiday season, as we all do. And then I had some travel for projects in the beginning of the year, which meant that the last few days I've been on call after call after call after call after call. You know those days, and they are exhausting. But I love them. I honestly could just talk all day long, and I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a huge extrovert, so talking to people gives me a ton of energy. But I digress. A few of those calls were with folks that are online that are trying to grow their business in 2020, and I love those types of calls. They're a ton of fun. And something that I'm finding interesting is the questions that people ask going into the call. Meaning the majority of the time when I start these conversations, it normally centers around traffic. Like if I ask, okay, what do you think is your biggest problem? Why are you not able to reach your goals? Most of the time the answers are about not enough people are seeing our stuff. If we could just get more people on our site, we're sure that they would buy. And I want to frame this in a different way. So picture that you are a sales guy. You speak from the stage, and when you're done speaking, people are supposed to go back to the room and buy whatever it is that you sold. So let's say it was like a course, and your job is to sell a course on the stage. And you have 1,000 people in that room, and you sell to that room, and at the end, you make your huge pitch, and you think it's awesome, and then one person goes to the back and buys. So 1 out of 1,000 people went to the back and purchased your product. Now, if I offered if we can get people just like this, so your ideal customers in a room again, would you pay me $10,000 to get 1,000 more people in that room? Chances are your answer should be no, because last time you did that exact same thing, how many people bought? Only one in 1,000. So 0.1% of people that you were speaking to actually bought your product. So spending more money to speak to more people would be a terrible idea, right? And so our problem wasn't filling the room. Our problem was our sales pitch. And so the better thing before you paid all that money to get people in the room would be to figure out why people weren't buying your product to begin with. And then once you've addressed those things, then you might pay that money and fill the room back up and get more people to come to the back and buy. And if you take that to e-commerce, that's the single biggest thing that I think businesses are missing out on is not how do I get more people to visit my site, but instead how can I get more people who are visiting my site to buy? We need to increase that conversion rate. So conversion means turning your visitors into buyers. We're converting them from a visitor to a customer. We're turning them into that. And, by not focusing on conversion, you really are focusing on the wrong thing. If you have a brick and mortar store and 1,000 people walk in your door, but only a few are buying, you have a major conversion issue. And why would you go run ads, but Facebook ads or even stuff in a newspaper or radio to drive foot traffic to your store? That's not the problem. You need to spend time training your team to upsell, to actually get people to buy, to try stuff on, in order to turn more in-store visitors into buyers. And so, this brings up someone that we worked with last year who, when we started the conversations, they were saying the same thing. I need to drive more people to my site. I know I have a good product. I know that people want this stuff. So if I can get more people visiting, then I know that our sales are going to go up. And of course, that's slightly true. But when we looked at their numbers, we saw that they were at a 0.3 conversion rate, which is really low. In most industries, this is crazy, but 2% is a good conversion rate. That means that 2 out of 100 people that visit your site are going to buy from you. That's a crazy number, but that's an industry standard. And a lot of businesses are underneath that 2%. And so we, instead of building a traffic strategy, although we want to get there, the first thing we did was go through her site and address the areas where customers were dropping off. Her homepage graphics weren't being updated on a regular basis. Her product details were terrible. Customers had no way of knowing exactly what they were going to buy. And then they didn't understand what their shipping rates were until they actually made the purchase. That made it super difficult for the customer. But when we went through and we fixed those things, that's when we started to see their conversion rate go up. And then once you see that conversion rate go up, now is when you finally get to crank the lever and say, okay, now how do we drive more people to our site? But if you're wanting to grow your online business in 2020, I'm going to beg you, don't go and start running a bunch of Facebook ads or spending money on marketing and all these other things until you have spent the time to really dive into increasing conversion on your site. How can we have better ways of turning visitors into buyers? And those are simple things that you can be doing. It's things like, the number one thing that makes people drop off, why people aren't buying from you. This is crazy, but the number one reason people don't buy is shipping. And a lot of people think it means that you have to offer free shipping, but that isn't always the case. A lot of times it's just being transparent about it. Having a flat shipping rate and making that clearly visible on the product page, making sure that that is easily accessible from all parts of your website helps them know exactly what they need to do. For small businesses, an easy thing that you can do is have tiers where, if you spend over $100, you get free shipping. Anything under that is $5. It encourages them to spend more to save that money. And if you want to offer free shipping, an easy way to do that is build it into your product cost. You'll take a little bit of a hit, but if you build that into the selling price of the item, it's weird that I will. If I'm honest, I'm thinking in one of the last election cycles, I donated to a political campaign, and then I was going to buy a yard sign, and I didn't buy it because it charged for shipping, which was just crazy if you think about it. I gave them free money, but then I didn't want a yard sign because of the cost of shipping. But had they just said the yard sign is $15, I probably would have bought it. But instead it was $10 with shipping of $5. And I thought that was crazy, so I didn't do it. That was just an instinct that I had in that moment that, I probably should have. And, by getting rid of those mental breaks that people have, you can actually work to increase conversion on your site. So, what I'd love, honestly, for you, if you're trying to grow, is I'm happy to, one-on-one point you in the right direction. You can shoot me a DM on my Instagram at RetailJosh, and I'm glad to shoot you a link to schedule a strategy session. Or we have a lot of free resources on our website at streamlineretail.com that talks about ways that you can start to increase conversion. And next week, I want to go into some real strategies beyond shipping that can help you increase conversion. So we'll go through some core elements that help retail businesses turn visitors into buyers. So next week, I hope that you're looking forward to that. Until then, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm at RetailJosh. Shoot me a DM. Let me know that you listen, and I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we will connect next week when we're going to talk about how to convert more visitors into buyers. And then eventually we'll get to how do we drive more traffic once we've done that. So talk to you next week. I hope you have a great week.